In my experience working with people, this is probably one of the biggest concerns that most new doggy parents have. The first thing that we need to do when training any animal is to understand how it is that they think and learn. And the reason why dogs eliminate wherever they want is because A, it's convenient, B, they don't yet understand the rules of the house. Much like a child that may not understand the dangers of sticking their fingers in an electrical socket, the puppy just doesn't know any better. So the most important thing when we're house training a dog is to have realistic expectations. We would all love it if you could house train a dog in a week, but the fact is that it's just not possible. We have to be prepared that this may take several weeks, and it might even be frustrating, and there will probably be times when we will have to face failure. Preparing for these situations will allow us to be successful in the shortest amount of time possible. Accidents are likely, and the common mistake is to worry about being set back every time an accident does happen. But the truth is that there is a lesson to be learned from every one of these, and the goal of the trainer is to understand what the mistake was on their part and try their best not to let it happen again. The secret is to prevent the dog from having accidents inside the house in the first place. The best way to do this, in my opinion, is to provide constant supervision and stay one step ahead of them at all times. We must always have the dog on the leash, and if this is your first time hearing this, it probably sounds a little bit overwhelming, but it does get easier. The reason for having the dog on the leash is that it prevents them from having an accident when we're not looking. Because if that happens, then the dog has just figured out a convenient way to solve a problem. The second reason why the leash works is because in the long term, it teaches the dog to come to us when they need to go. The goal is to put ourselves in the position to anticipate when a toilet break is needed. And in the beginning, this will probably be very frequently. It may be every 3 hours or every single hour. If the dog is having too many accidents with a 3-hour interval between breaks, then the idea would be to give the dog the opportunity to go every 2 hours or every 1 hour and see if that helps. This is a commitment that for some people may not be very easy at first, but it will work and you will thank yourself for it for when it does. Most dogs offer body language that helps us predict when they are about to go. You may miss these subtle hints at first, but having the dog close to you on a leash at all times, soon you will be an expert in reading the dog's body language and knowing when it's time to go outside. To help with the process of learning and to accomplish the goal in the shortest amount of time, it is a great idea to develop a very consistent routine. Dogs will make the connection faster if they're always taken to the same spot, and will soon understand that being here means that it's time to do that one thing. When the dog does the right thing at the right time, this is the moment to communicate to them how happy this makes us. You can give them a food reward if you have one, but be as genuine and consistent in your loving response as possible. Young puppies under the age of roughly 4 to 5 months can only hold their bladder for a couple of hours at most. If they are spending time alone, then we have to make sure that they are in an appropriate crate and not by themselves for longer than a couple of hours at a time. There will be times when we might be a little bit too late. It doesn't take long to happen. If you can catch the dog in the act, then you may interrupt them and immediately take them outside. If it's a small puppy, you can probably pick them up. But having the leash on is going to be critical here because we won't be wasting time looking for it and we can immediately take the dog to the right place. As far as cleanup goes, it is important to use a product that is designed to be used with dogs in house training. There are a lot of brands that make these liquid cleaners and they all work just fine. Probably the biggest mistake that one can make is to punish a dog for breaking a rule that they did not even know existed. If a dog is punished for having an accident, they will either learn to avoid the person giving them the punishment or learn that eliminating is a bad thing to do. This cannot teach them what they should be doing instead or where. So I highly discourage any sort of punishment here. It is not necessary and may create problems that will be more difficult to resolve than the house training itself. The common tendency is to put off teaching the dog other things until they have first mastered the house training. This approach is short-footed because if we want our dogs to be fast learners, then we must engage and teach them a variety of behaviors, whether it's a simple trick or just general good manners. House training is one of those things that may seem a little bit challenging if this is your first time doing it. But if you're following all the things that I talked about in this video, then you will be making it a lot easier for the dog to understand. I think that going through this is probably one of the best ways to develop consistency in our habits as trainers, while also creating a bond with our dogs that will last a lifetime.